Okay, so as I said, David very kindly rushed through the editing and cleaning up of Hynek's video so that it could be made available. So even those of you who were not here 2 weeks ago may have had the opportunity to watch the presentation that Hynek gave us, including his wonderful drone footage of the place where he currently is living and farming. We did run out of time for conversation last time, and there was a tremendous appetite to hear more from Hynek, and people had specific questions. So the idea today is that we're going to throw the floor open to all of you to go back to those questions. I think that's enough from me, so I'm going to pass it over now to all of you for back to your questions. I know a couple of you have prepared some in advance. David, go ahead.
Hello, everyone, and hello, Hynek. Thank you so much for joining us again. Here's my question. Looking at your farm and hearing you describe the way you work, that is a lot of work. And I just wonder who does the work? You, your wife, you and your kids? Do you have people who work with you? How does the work get done?
Yes, that's this thing with the work. It is there and it needs to be done. No, but basically on the farm, we are here as a family. So basically, me and my wife are doing all the work. Historically, our decision was not to involve our kids too much in the farming. We felt it is like our adult project, and we didn't want to be like imposing some work schedules for the kids. So basically, our idea was rather for us adults to do the work around the farm and for the kids sort of to enjoy the benefits and to be able to be outside and have a free time. I need to say that I am not like, it's just also historically, I need to say that with the advance of this mobile phones and internet access everywhere and these shitty social networks and whatever, like the idea which we had that when you let the kids the free time, they will find something outside and they will start to develop something. I question this assumption a little now. So I need to say that if, and we have like four kids and there is like 11 years between the oldest and youngest, and it's very hard to change the rules in the middle. So, when the oldest one doesn't have, or did not have any duties, it's really hard to impose it on the younger ones. So, yeah, this is about the kids. We host volunteers. We are parts of the WOOF network, this worldwide opportunities on organic farms. It's this network which we also like are the coordinators for Czech Republic. So we host the woofers, but the situation is that in Czech, not so many people are like interested and coming who are really deep into the farming, into the agriculture. It's rather that the people want to be outside, they want to help a little, but basically they don't have any skills. Sometimes they don't have any like working habits, or how to say it. So, and then it also mingles with your like family dynamics, you know. Sometimes you want to have a day off, you know, that's the only advantage which basically the farming allows you, that you, when you decide and you can, it's not, hey, it's not that, but theoretically you can say, okay, I don't want to do anything this day, then you can do it. But when you have someone there, some volunteer, you still need to go find them some work. Very often the people also expect some like entertainment from you because they feel lonely. And you know, there is such a beautiful nature around here, and so few people goes to the nature. They are here a week, and sometimes they didn't like get a food away from the farm, so I would just kick them into the ass. But I'm not allowed to do that. I am not sure if I can say that, but that's how it is. Yeah, but basically the work is done with me and my wife.
Thank you, Hynek. I believe last time when you were talking, you alluded to the challenges of having to straddle both worlds. You still need an income, so there still has to be external, and I'm in the same position. So, yeah, trying to get everything done can be very challenging, particularly at the type of scale at which you're operating. David McHugh, how nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to be here. Thanks. Hello, everyone. And thanks, Hynek, for the lovely talk we had last fortnight. Um, my observation on the film was that you had a body of water. I don't know if it was a pond or whether you could class it as a lake, but I just wondered what sort of food source comes from the body of water there.
Thank you. Yes, that was when we were looking for the new farm after we were moving back from Sweden. Our like requirement was to have either big big stream or a pond. Because usually the weather pattern here is that usually there is dry in like March, April, and that is the moment when the water is still going from the mountains, so the pond is full and you can irrigate freely. We have solar panels, so basically we are like off grid. Not like we are off grid from like half of the March till the end of November. Uh, and so that was our need, and we were thinking about it as a source of water, not source of a food. We have there fish, not very much, because we don't want to feed it there. Our goal is rather to have a body of water to cool down in the hot days. It's really good because there are like trees all around, so there is always like nice weather, you know, even in the heat wave. When we were on the lake, on the pond, it was like breezy. um, we Alfred is trying to catch a fish there, but not very successfully now. he, he is using the fishing rod, but he is not still very systematic. I don't know how old is he, 11 or something like that. So he doesn't have the like systematic mind. So it's rather when it comes. And the advantage is that we have also the small fish there. So he always can like catch the small fish just for the joy of catch and release. Um, I need to say that in my farming world, the huge advantage is of pond is that the pond is there and you cannot do anything. No grass grows there. Nothing goes wrong with it. It just sits there and it's always nice and flat. So for me, with the pond, the interesting thing is uh, to have it there. Definitely, there is a sort of space for more some like aquaculture, but we didn't we didn't go this direction yet.
Thank you, Hynek. Thanks for the question, David. Jessica, you're unmuted. Did you want to come in?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Hynek, for being here, and Kat and David for hosting. Hynek, I am in the Caribbean island of Dominica, in the Eastern Caribbean, in the mountains. When you was talking about woofers, we have workawayers, which is kind of the European version. Yeah, and I know about the issues of them not really wanting to do the work. Some of them. I wanted to just make an observation and things that really struck me about your presentation first before my question. I just listened to it this morning over coffee. I was super impressed. Oftentimes when I hear presentations on homesteading or permaculture, it is more of the design principles and more of the sort of academic. And I really appreciated that you got into the stories and what it actually means to be living and producing all of these things yourself. And also the historical part of living in a place and what was historically done before, that you're very sensitive to that. And especially around keeping animals and how important animals have been in the northern hemisphere for subsistence. Because a lot of people are like, ooh, animal agriculture, it's we think of factory farms, but this was not the case. And it struck me about how animals are so important in the north because of getting through those winter months when you can't grow. And very, very different than the tropics, of course, because we have fish and we have, tree crops and 12 months growing season and very, very different climate. But I have family in the north because I grew up in Canada. And I am concerned around collapse issues. Not all of them can come live with me in the Caribbean, and a lot of friends who are not going to move when collapse happens. So I'm curious to know you do a lot. You do a lot on your farm, but what would it take for you to be 100% self-sufficient? Like if the supply chains broke down tomorrow, and you couldn't go get your rice or whatever the things that you buy to supplement what you grow. Just in terms of your family survival, the six of you, can you give an idea of like what percentage more work you would have to do or what percentage more productive capacity or land or what you would have to do to actually be, self-sufficient on your farm?
Yes, okay. Let's yeah, it's really hard. I don't think I have anything to say for you in tropics. And it's also something what is very often like forgotten with this connected world that that still these things are like very much regional. For me, Jessica, the answer to your question is maybe not so much what more we need to to produce, but what less we will eat. Because I think basically it can work. It can work. Like the only thing what we are really missing is the grain production. And that's definitely something what we need to go into. And I need to say that you know it can be done because you will also currently we are solving so much things out of the farm. for getting some money, for caring about the kids, for blah 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 blah, everything. And when we will have the time here, I think, and you will know that it's crucial, you can grow the grain because I basically never knew till very recently that all the rice plants in Japan were like transplanted. That they grew it in some nurseries and they transplanted it to all the fields. And you can basically see how much work was done or invested into this. So basically, for us, it will primarily lead to bigger production of potatoes as a staple crop, which is something we already know how to grow, and we can scale it up like basically like fairly easily. And the second will be the grain production. But like huge thing will be like downscaling. I need to admit it that having 4 kids, the oldest one already having her own money, it like brings you a lot of stuff which you are only like partially content to your household. Luckily, they still keep like to organic food, but still it's more that I would like to. And then it also depends where in the cycle it will go with the animals, because basically if the cow will be like in milk, basically the milk from the cow with potatoes can take us through it. Another advantage is that we have like grain farmer here nearby, and as the prices of grain are so stupid now in Europe, he has like tons and tons and tons of grain in his storage. Also, what we have at home is we feed a little bit of grain to the cow and to the pigs. So when something like this will come, definitely we will slaughter the pigs or we will give them grass or something, and we will save the grain for ourselves. But basically, we have always at least like a ton of wheat or barley on the farm, which can just basically get us through any like problematic situation. I don't know, was it enough, or should I go deeper
About
into some direction?
Yeah,
about what, Jane?
yeah, that was great, Hynek. I was just curious about, do you smoke meat to preserve it, or do you do smoking or salting, that kind of thing?
Basically, the answer is no, and it's because of the like as you ask about the work, then the most then it happens that you do just the basics. So we basically know how to do it. We did it in some previous experiments with and we have a lot of like freezers. So if and we can work off grid like whole year round if we start to like save the electricity during the winter, because now we basically don't we I say we live off grid, but it does not mean anything for us. We use the electricity as normally. It just the solar panels produce so much that we don't we are still off grid. So from the pigs, basically the lard, which is just the Norse alternative of some oils. It can be stored nicely because you just boil it. I don't know how you say it, but you cut it into small pieces and then boil it on the stove, so it gets completely liquid. So then the only fat, and then you can give it into any jars or any buckets, and it will not go wrong.
The
So
English
this
word
is
is render, Hynek. We would
render.
we render the animal fats to
Yeah,
create the, yeah.
yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Jane, I know that you've got some questions about preserving and storing. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, Jessica just asked, my first question was about how you would store meat
Uh,
after you've slaughtered an animal. So that was my first question. My second question is about your fresh produce. How do you keep your fresh produce for as long as possible?
Your
Yeah,
green produce.
okay. So about the storing of the meat, I mentioned it. Like currently we store it in the freezers because it's the most convenient way. Unfortunately, like as it goes in this point, like surviving the present to be able to survive the future. So I need to we cannot get like burned out or whatever. And so now when you nicely pack it into the freezer and you are done, that's totally success. Um, we can do the sausages like this, but then also like having the smaller animals as the rabbits or sheep will basically allow you to get to not need to store the meat for such a long time. Also, we have this pot to sterilize the meat in the pressure cooker for sterilizing the meat in the jars, so it can be preserved like this. So yes, this is a situation where we are not like completely fulfilling. It's just, I think we were doing more of this somewhere in the past where we have less kids and so, but now we are a little bit neglecting it. Otherwise, this berries, and so we are doing jams and some preserves with the sugar. And the solution is we have like 200 kilos of sugar stored in our attic always. So basically, that can get us through some time. Um, but we don't know if it will be to something. In Czech, there is this stories that when the people of my age, they no, but a little bit older, when they came to their parents, it was like, oh, the grandmother, she has always the pantry full of some flour. She has there always 30 kilos of sugar, and there are ants everywhere, and it got moldy, and she has the flour there, and it's got bad. And I never know if it will be to any use, but I can afford it now. And I don't, some of these things are so cheap now. When I can grow like sugar beet, that's fine. But then to process it to sugar, that will take me some time and some consideration, and giving 40 Czech crowns, I don't know, $2 per 1 kilo of sugar, organic sugar from somewhere where Jessica lives. You know, if it saves me 2, 3 years of processing sugar beet to to sugar, I am very fine with it. And with the fresh produce, I need to admit that we try to eat it as it is there from the garden. We are not completely successful, so we try to harvest it on the top of the season. Like basically a lot of our friends is making like fun from us because we have so many produce like stored and we use it only partially. Yeah, for me, like the important thing is the primary production. When you have the primary production and something bad will happen, you will find out how to store it quite fast, I believe. And also, you will see what you have on hand. If you will be able to get the electricity running somehow, you can. And there is also a lot of fiddling with the electricity because the freezers, they can keep frozen for quite long time without it, like day or two. So you can, at least in our climate, probably not in Jessica's, to have it to like freeze it every day when the sun shines. So like this. So about this is rather eating the produce fresh, which also is not so easy with the kids, which can be fussy about some things, like when the broccoli is ready everywhere and it's a lot of broccoli, then they get a little bit pissed off, or how to say it nicely. Yeah. Did it answer your question, Jane? I am wondering, my mind is wondering.
No, it did answer my question. It to me it sounds like it's like a pragmatic approach. Yeah, rather than being ideological about it.
But also in this thing, you are right that when you don't have the means to do the primary produce, it's worse to think and try this storing things, because it may be something what will also be needed when, I think, also much more land will become available around, because when the land cannot will not be worked with this like big machines, I think there will be the point where the land will be available. There will be shortage of hoes, the hand hoes. That I am pretty sure of. But I think the land will be available.
Thank you both. And you've got your hand up, Anna. Sorry, forgive me.
Yes, and thanks so much for this. And apologies if this was covered because I joined a bit late. My question was about self-defense in a collapse situation when you have farm animals. What
Yeah.
what is your sort of philosophy or your thoughts on what is needed to defend the animals from bad actors, and how far would you go, and yeah, that kind of thing. Thank you.
Yes, nice. It was good. You also had such an interesting question last time. Yes, definitely. It's something what we not like take in account, but consider. Like basically, we are armed, which is much less usual in Europe than in US. So basically, when you have arms here, it means something. Not, if I understand it right, not as US, when like a lot of people have guns. Here, like basically nobody has guns except of the hunters, and in our village there is like 15 hunters, and they each have like one or few guns. So we have like short and long guns to be prepared. We are trying to be able to work with the guns. So going shooting regularly on the fire range, because basically having the guns at home without knowing what to do with them is basically pointless. I am starting also to introduce some gun safety to the kids, because that's something, you know what will happen and who will hold the gun on the end. So this is about the defense. And basically this comes to the moment then we really don't want where the situation will come. Basically, if it will go to, like, okay, let's go for this theoretical scenario that there will be people who want to go after your animals. Yeah, I will later maybe try to talk about if I think this is probably or not. But in this case, we have basically here in this place there is the house, there is the yard, I don't know, 5-6 meters, and there is another brick building which was basically like barn in the old days. I don't know, it was built 1920, and basically they had the animals. It was very normal to have the animals so close to the living quarters. And this was a pub in those days, so there was a pub, and 6 meters from that they had the cows, horses, everything, and it was normal. In we It's not so much for us now, so we built another barn like farther away from the house, but this barn is sort of still prepared for housing animals. There is one room which is basically with very few windows, which we use as a storage now. And basically, if we will think that this is real threat, we will move our animals to here for some limited time space. We may need to sort of prioritize the animals, so we may not be able to to get hold of the animals there, but this is such a last stop. Then when I'm telling this now, basically the only people who easily will go for our animals are the hunters, which we basically know them. So we hope we can do some negotiations with them, but we don't know. We don't know how violent this will come. In fact, I am not so sure it will go to this situation, because all the transport will become so much harder. So now we have the feeling that driving somewhere 10-15 kilometers is without a problem. Basically, what I believe is, as long as fossil fuels will be available, there will be no collapse. No climate change will drive this civilization over the edge, according to my belief. Because as long as the fossil fuels will be available, the people who are able to have this ski slope in Saudi Arabia will basically do whatever to, sorry, for this northwest, sorry Jessica, it was not meant for your place. It's because I am speaking from the northwestern perspective, and I hope it is clear. And I have no chance, no any to speak about the south about Asia. No, I have no ideas what is happening, and I believe the situation is tough there even now. But the big collapse, from my point of view, will come in the moment when the collapse will come here in the northwest. And that will not be sooner than the fossil fuels will stop to be available. They don't need to be physically exhausted, but the infrastructure to mine them and to deliver them to all the places where they are needed will crumble. And that leads to the point that I believe that then the transport will become much harder. You know, when you should when you come here and basically you have it at least 2 or 3 kilometers to your house. You came here with what? With a wheelbarrow? With a wheelbarrow, and you shoot a sheep here, and you load it to the wheelbarrow, and then you are going through the village, visit back to your house. I don't know if this sounds too much. So yeah, these are my ideas about why I am not so super scared about this being problem with the collapse. I need to say I am more scared that this will be the point of some like state violence, in the sense that when there will be some fossil fuels available, but the state will try to assert more control of it, then it may happen that they will come to us and say, this needs to go for us, or you need to give us your milk or whatever. And that will be much more problematic because there will be some like state actor behind it. So it's not this Mad Max where you just shoot the someone who is coming for it, but it's just state actor which is coming for your animals. Yeah. Anna, did it answer your question, or did I wander somewhere completely unexpected?
You answered it. Thanks so much. Very interesting.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Thank you. Thank you both. Any more questions? Go ahead, Jane. Go ahead again.
Just one more about your solar system
Uh-huh.
and how you use it in terms of battery storage and what happens in the winter. Could you be self-sufficient energy-wise? Is that what you want?
Yes, I think we can. It's the similar answer to the food question. The answer is never like more like income but less consumption. So basically I think when we will be like consumption wise, we can survive most of the winter. Basically, we don't use electricity for any heating. Our house is warmed by the stove without need of electricity. So we have just local stove. We have one stove which has like this back boiler which heats the water, but I designed it so that the boiler is just above the stove, so it doesn't need electricity to heat it. So so basically in about the warms we are completely electric off. And in the winter, the freezers, we have them basically outdoors. so they use quite less electricity, and I think basically we can also, if needed, switch them for more like long for some time to to conserve the electricity. And also, there is a lot of weird stuff. Unfortunately, we have with these kids here quite like normal household. So there is some electric stuff running here all around. And if it will be like hard, definitely this needs can be switched off. We there was a subsidy in Czech Republic for the solar systems when the state paid us something quite nice. We did it all like by ourselves. So we installed the panels, we installed whatever we can, and we had just a guy here who just did the wiring, because when the electricians see my wiring, they are getting a little bit, I don't know, greeny. And so I didn't want to have do the wiring there because they are so nice, the wire goes like completely straight. Yeah, really nice. I am not able to do it. Like my life is farming, there is this saying, like there is the farm margin. That's a saying in Czech that I don't have it 2 centimeters, but the farm margin is 1.5 to 2.5, and the farming is perfect for me because this is how I work. So and basically the subsidy paid all the solar installation, I think. Hopefully, I don't remember. And we I was looking on this living, what is the name of the farm in US? Living something farm. They do it with this electricity with just the DC. Someone was there on this. Um, Someone from the deeper dive was also visiting there. There is a farm, and they because basically when you work with the solar, with like DC, which comes directly from the solar, it's much more efficient because there is much less of this friction of the losses. Your living energy farm, perfect. Thank you, Ben.
Can I
And
just ask? Sorry,
yeah,
can
yeah,
I just ask? Do you have backup? So do you have any sort of generation?
no, no,
You
no.
just have backup from the grid.
From the grid, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't have a backup. It's not usual here. I know that in US it's usual, but in Europe, when the electricity is off for 8 hours, it it hits headlines. So it's very different from US. In Europe, when the electricity anywhere, we are on the last of the grid, whenever, and there tree fall on the power line, and the power line sort of like survived it. And it was Friday afternoon. I called them, and they fixed it like Saturday morning. So it's just really like it's something different. Here it's when the electricity is off for a few hours, it's something. So no, we don't have a diesel backup generator. Maybe it's something to consider, but but I didn't had it. We have batteries, so we have like, I don't know, 45 kilowatt hours of batteries, which basically can we can survive about like 2.5 days of the normal consumption, and definitely if we start to sort of save it, we will last longer. Like my idea is to buy like another battery every like 2 years, basically to have it in cycle, to because the older one will still work somehow, and the newer one will be then available. Uh, we have also like two electric cars. We have old Nissan, which is like unbelievable car. As we are six, there is not so many like electric cars, and this was the only electric car available for ages. And the car is now, I don't know, it's like 9 years old, and it still runs as a new. We have it like for 5 years or something like that, and it never was in service, so it just drives, and that's amazing. I would also consider, uh, I know that this some of the Dacia Duster, they are doing that you can take the energy from the car and it's like implemented in the car, which is like super because the car, it has like 40 kilowatt hours battery, and that will keep you going for some time. We have basically this very standard, it's this Victron, this German mark. It's considered the best, and I think it's really what I see a lot. Sorry, I am wondering, but this last thing, sometimes the people are so concerned about the solar panels, but the solar panels, they have the longest life from all the thing. So I believe the panels will survive on the roof for 25 years still producing. But then there is a lot of like electronic stuff like downstream. And when something of this goes shitty, then you rather start to think about how to plug something DC to your solar panels because you have no way what to do. So in this sense, I am quite skeptical to this like sort of cheap Chinese things when there is everything is in one box, and they will say you, oh, give there this box and it will do everything for you. It will, but I definitely don't know for what time. And I need to say I was surprised that this Victron thing, it was not prohibitive expensive. Nothing is prohibitive expenses these days. It's not like going to buy Dolce Gabbana, whatever. I don't know what is expensive today. But nothing from the practical stuff is. Did it answer the question, Jane? Sorry, I always ask because I am.
You think you wonder a lot, but you don't. You answer the question.
Yeah, okay, good.
Well done. Thank you both. Go ahead, John.
Thank you so much, Hynek. I want to go back to the refrigeration, especially when you mentioned the pond in northern Minnesota, where I grew up. I heard stories from my father and my uncles that one of my uncles had a land that they didn't have electricity till the early 1960s. And every winter, they would have ice cutting parties, and they would cut ice blocks from the lake, bring them to and put them in sawdust in a hut that was half underground, and it would last until November of the next year. So they only had a few months of no, and then it was cold again. And I wonder if that's anything you've ever thought there on your farm.
Yes, I did. I tried a lot of stuff during my life. Basically, there are a few things. The pond is not freezing regularly in this, so we got like 10 centimeters of ice at best, and quite sometimes it's not this like firm dust. I know that if you want a good ice, you need to shovel it. We tried with the kids to harvest some ice, but then it first I need to say the ice is shitty heavy. Not such a big piece of ice, it's really really heavy. Yeah, so it's nice when you cut the ice in the water. Yes, it's floating there. But then, unfortunately, nobody wants to go to the water for the ice. Um, so then you just get it out from the water on the shore and you are sort of watching it there. And so we did a pile. I heard about the sawdust, so we used some sawdust, but we didn't give it enough attention. That's something, and now I am surely wondering, but I want to say this. This is something what is also important. Uh, when then the hard times will come, the outcome matters. And you need to give it all the time it needs to work. So basically, this is just the example. We gave there some work into it to harvest the ice. We found some place where we thought it will be nice. Somehow pile it, but we didn't have enough attention. Also, the piling is not so easy because you need to go sort of higher and then you don't have enough sawdust. And then basically what is crucial is to have it shed, have it covered from the top. Because when the water will start, when it will rain, your ice will melt immediately. So, and that's something what we didn't do. We didn't give it a roof. So it melted away very quickly. Even quicker than in the pond or something like this it was. So it was experiment and it was not success. But I know now that it needs more attention.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
both. Thank you. Anna,
Yes, I think Jessica was before me.
you're right. I've just noticed Jessica's hand. So sorry. Jessica, go ahead.
No worries. Yeah, Hynek, I was just thinking a quick question for you around aging and plans for the future. I'm just a few years older than you, and myself and my partner, we have other buildings on the property, and we do think that one day we are going to have more of a community living on the land. And we've always thought about an intentional community and finding the right people and that kind of thing. We have a daughter who's not that interested in farming, but again, I believe she should have her own life. So yeah, so what do you think about inviting people in? Do you think about community? Do you, as you get older into your 60s, 70s, 80s, yeah, what do you see happening?
Nice, interesting question, at least for me. So I split it in two. One is just the aging thing because I see them only like a little bit related. So with the aging, my inspiration is my grandfather, grandmother, and they were basically doing the farming until they died in 80s. So basically, when you just prepared, when I think it can be problem when some injury will come or some sudden illness will come. Then you are in shit and you need to rethink everything. But if this doesn't happen, I think and in the farming, you will feel it that you cannot do it anymore, that you need to have a less. And so basically my grandparents, they were like having small farm in like different part where my mother is coming from, another part of Czech Republic. And they basically had like animals till they were old. Like my grandfather, when he was 80, he was climbing for a hay and fall down on his back, and he didn't have any other idea than to go mowing with the side, so his broken ribs punctured the lungs, and so he went then to the hospital. So you can carry it quite far. I am not sure if I will. I really hope that at least some of our kids will want to stay around. That's basically also the advantage of this place, that it's like bigger, so they can have their own like sort of place. And maybe that's where having four comes handy, that I have like four times bigger chance that when you have just one, which may tip the chances to something reasonable, but I don't know. Uh, so this is about aging, yes, and about the community, yes. We are all for community, and as I said, we were in Sweden. We were teaching in the like such a school for adults. In Sweden they have such a system of like adult education that you can say in your work that you are taking a year off and go to adult education, and your employer needs to keep your place. That after the year you are guaranteed to come back to your place. And this was a school for there were mainly young adults. There were 10 such a people living there on the farm for a whole year, and that was some glimpse of community, which was not completely like a level, because the farmer who owned the farm was like, the owner of it. But we would like to have a community, but we are rather this like neighborhood community type of. I don't think we can stand anyone living like like in the same household for long term. Like we have the woofers, and some of them we have for like months or more. Okay, but I did not feel it like sustainable long term. So we are trying to work on this slowly, in the sense that I would like to acquire some more land around me. So, because whatever you have, I have the feeling that this is now mine, this is ours, and I want to have a little bit more land when and to allow more people to go there. Like unfortunately, I don't see like big movement back to the land now here in Czech. I even felt that in 2010, 2013 it was much bigger. Now I really even for the alternative people, it's either like anarchism or degrowth or whatever. But this movement back to the land, I feel it quite weak now. I also am trying to acquire land like in the village, where there could be some possible development of some like eco village or something like that. But it's like long-term goals. But we definitely are for community, but I don't know if it is different from US, but as the Europe has this quite like firm social network that the state will not let you die on the street, but you will get some money and so on, and you have a free health care or whatever. So then, yeah, I don't feel any like urge of the young people not having access to land coming to me and saying, "Oh, if you have there some hectare or something, we will come and move in." Unfortunately, I am not meeting it now, but I am waiting. I am learning to be patient. It's not my skill, definitely not, but I am learning it.
Thank you, Hynek. Thank you, Jessica, for the question. Anna, I'm noticing the time. I think you will be our last question for today.
Great. Thanks so much again. And I was wondering if you could speak about what is the favorite meal that for your family based on the foods from your farm.
Yeah, basically it's luckily it's traditional Czech meal, which is easy to have, and it's basically roasted pig with this sauerkraut, this fermented cabbage, and something what you call like potato dumplings, which you are probably not familiar, but you cook potatoes, you grate them, give there some flour and maybe some eggs. You make a dough with it and then form such a like things like this. You boil it in the water and then you cut it on the slices. So these are like such a slices of, I don't know, dumplings, and that's a traditional Czech meal, and it's something what we can produce quite easily. So this is quite favorite, and the advantage is that the kids like it also.
Sounds delicious. Thanks.
It does sound delicious. Thank you, Hynek. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. And thank you to you, Hynek. I know that you're feeling a little below the weather today. So we really appreciate your fortitude in sticking with us and making yourself available for the second half of your presentation. I see everyone's showing their appreciation for that. We're just 10 minutes away from the time when we would normally finish. So I'm just gonna put it out there if there's anything else that needs to be said or heard before we wrap things up.
I just want to say thank you for your questions. It's really good when I hear that some people are solving similar things what we are solving, because this like loneliness in this can be sometimes like hard to bear. And also, whenever you will come around Czech, you can definitely come. There is always places to stay here. And yeah, thank you for your attention and questions.
So generous of you. Thank you, Hynek. So we will meet again 2 weeks from today at the usual time. I'm not sure what the presentation will be. If I don't have a firm offer or someone who's determined, you may be listening to me talk about an accidental wallopini and how that came about and how we constructed it on our little Scottish hillside and the benefits of an indoor growing space based on some ancient technologies. But yes, 2 weeks, same time. The follow-up from this and the recording will no doubt be available in due course. Yeah, watch this space and I look forward to seeing you all in a couple of weeks' time. Feel free to unmute yourselves and express your appreciation for Hynek and for one another.
I just want to say thank you, Hynek. We are incredibly fortunate to have with us someone with the depth of personal experience, but also the wide view to be so informative and encouraging. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Yes,
Hynek.
thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Hynek.
Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you so
See you
much,
soon.
everybody.